Welcome to our video on tiling. Please subscribe. Let's get started. Tiles come in a variety of sizes and shapes. Square tiles are typically 6 by 6, 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, 3 by 3, and 1 3/8 by 1 3/8 inches. Rectangular tiles are 8 1/2 by 4 1/4, 6 by 4 1/4, and 4 1/4 by 1 3/8 inches. Sheet-mounted tiles are usually between 1 and 2 square feet, with a rubber mesh backing on the sheet or between the tiles to hold them together. Mosaic tiles range in sizes from 3/8 by 3/8 inches to 2 by 2 inches and about 1/4 inch thick. They are available in both sheet and roll forms. Now let's go over the different tile finishes. Glazed and matte glazed tiles have a natural clay non-vitreous body, 7 to 9% absorption, with a vitreous glaze fused to the face of the tile. Unglazed tile is dense, non-vitreous bodies, uniformly distributed through the tile. Porcelain tile has a smooth surface with impervious body of less than 0.5% absorption. Abrasive tile has aggregate embedded in the surface or an irregular surface texture. Now most of us may not know what non-vitreous means. So I asked Petty Officer Google, and this is what he came up with.
Hello, and thank you for asking me the question. Non-vitreous tiles are tiles that absorb 7% or more moisture. Vitreous tiles are tiles that absorb less than 3% moisture. They are referred to as frost-resistant tiles, but cannot be used in exterior areas, where freeze-thaw conditions could cause tile cracking. Impervious tiles are tiles that have less than 0.5% absorption.
Border tiles come in many various shapes. Other special tiles include supports and holders for various uses. Then there are special tiles which vary by manufacturer. Give yourself a moment and look at the differences of these tiles. Wall tile, down corner, edging cap, cove base corner and the edging cap. Now let's look at the different edges of tiles. Self-spacing lugs, these you will see on 4 1/4 inch by 4 1/4 inch tiles. Then there are square edge tiles and cushion edge tiles. Mortars and adhesives. Cement mortar is composed of a mixture of Portland cement and sand. The mix proportions for floors vary from a 1:3 mix to a 1:6 mix by volume. Mix proportions for walls consist of Portland cement, hydrated lime, and sand from 1:13 to 1:15 1/2. Proportions will be dictated by the project specifications. Tiles require soaking in water for a minimum of 30 minutes prior to installation, using cement mortar. A waterproof backing is sometimes required, and the mortar must be damp cured. Cement mortar provides a bond strength of 100 to 200 pounds per square inch. Dry set mortar is pre-mixed Portland cement, sand, and add mixtures that control the setting time of the mortar. It is not recommended for use over wood or wood products. It provides excellent water and impact resistance and may be used on exteriors. The tiles do not have to be pre-soaked, but the mortar must be damp cured. Dry set mortar provides a bond strength of 500 pounds per square inch. Epoxy mortar is an epoxy resin and hardener that is mixed on the job site. Once the parts are mixed, the pot life is about 1 hour, depending on temperature. It may be applied over bases of wood, plywood, concrete, or masonry, and has excellent resistance to the corrosive conditions often encountered in industrial and commercial settings. Epoxy mortar is non-shrinking and non-porous, and provides a bond strength of over 1,000 pounds per square inch. Organic adhesives, or mastics, are solvent-based, rubber materials. Porous materials should be primed before any mastic is applied. Suitable surfaces include wood, concrete, masonry, gypsum wallboard, and plaster. The bond strength varies considerably among manufacturers, but the average is about 100 pounds per square inch. Cement grout consists of Portland cement and admixtures. Cement grout may be colored and is used in all areas subject to ordinary use. Tiles should be wet when using cement grout. Drywall grout has the same characteristics as dry-set mortar and is suitable for areas of ordinary use. Tiles that are to be set in drywall grout do not require wetting except during very dry conditions. Petty Officer Google wants to tell you something.
Hello again. I am here to remind most of you, when you were in Builder A school, and used joint compound to install tile. You remember that? That is not the way to do it at all, and whoever does it that way needs to fill out an ID10T form. We train how we fight, but not in that case. Let's do it right. And if you don't know what an ID10T form is, write it out and you will know. Now back to your training.
Thank you, Petty Officer Google. I had never heard of an ID10T form. So I wrote it out, dummy me. Okay, on to epoxy grout. It consists of an epoxy resin and hardener. It produces a joint that is stain-proof, resistant to chemicals, hard, smooth, impermeable, and easy to clean. Epoxy grout is used extensively in counters that must be kept sanitary, for foods and chemicals. Furan resin grout is used in industrial areas, requiring high resistance to acids and weak alkalis. Special installation techniques are required with this type of grout. Latex grout is made by introducing a latex additive into a Portland cement grout mix. Latex grout is a more flexible and less permeable finish than plain cement grout. I wanted to add a little information for you that Petty Officer Google sent me. There are two main differences in grout, and as you can see, it is sanded or unsanded. If you are placing small tile or large tile with little space in between tiles, you must use unsanded. Or you will possibly scratch your tile, trying to force the sanded grout where it can't go. He also wanted you to know about SCHLUTER. They make membranes for use with tile. Regular membrane can be thin set directly to a wood floor, and you can begin tiling over it as you put it down. There is also one made with circles, and older version, and now octagon shape, where you can run the proper wiring and have a warm floor. There are many tools you can use in laying tile. Let's get started with the notched trowel, the primary tool for working mortars and adhesives. A trowel that is notched on one side and smooth on the other is preferred. Many different sized trowels are available. If you are using a notched trowel for adhesives, refer to manufacturer's specifications determining the notch size. The tile cutter is the most efficient tool for cutting ceramic tile. The tile saw or wet saw is used to cut tile and stone. Uses a diamond-tipped circular blade, cooled by a continuous stream of water, contained in a reservoir. Operates like either a radial arm saw or a table saw. Tile nippers are used for trimming irregular shapes. When using the tile nippers, it is important to nip off very small pieces of the tile. Attempting to take big chunks at one time can crack the tile. The rubber surface trowel is used to force grout into the joints of the tile. Remember what Petty Officer Google said about sanded and unsanded grout use. Now let's cover a tile laying method. I refer to this method as the old school method. First, you apply a mortar bed. In order to do this, we start by tacking a layer of waterproof paper to the studs. Then nail metal lath over the paper. And then apply the scratch coat. Make and mix scratch coat to 1/3 parts cement and sand, with an additional 10% hydrated lime by volume of the cement used. While still plastic, scratch and cross-scratch the scratch coat. Keep scratch coat protected and moist during the hydration period. Set tiles no sooner than 24 hours after applying scratch coat, but no longer than 48 hours after applying scratch coat. Apply float coat. This coat is also called the leveling coat and also the brown coat. But we will be referring to it as the float coat from this point. Mix float coat to a 1:1.3½ parts cement, hydrated lime, and sand. Bring flush with screens or temporary guide strips placed to give a true and even surface at the proper distance from the finished face of the tile. Now it's time to apply the adhesive. We will cover two methods. The first is the float method. You apply adhesive uniformly over the prepared wall or floor surface, using quantities recommended by the manufacturer. Use a notched trowel, held at the proper angle, to spread adhesive to the required uniform thickness. Touch up thin or bare spots with an additional coating of adhesive. Do not coat areas larger than those recommended by the adhesive manufacturer. Next is the butter method. Daub adhesive on the back of each tile. Use enough so that, when compressed, the adhesive forms a coating not less than 1/16 inch thick over 60% of the back of each tile. Now we move on to setting tiles. This graphic is to depict a tub or shower area with walls and surfaces that are not square. First thing we need to do is square the wall. To do this, we must first find the low point. Measure up the height of one full tile at the low point. Draw horizontal line A. It must be level. Next we need to determine fractional tiles. Using a measuring stick, mark a 36 to 48 inch long piece of scrap wood with lines equal to the width of a tile. Using the half tile rule, multiply the number of full-size tiles required for one course by the tile size. Draw vertical lines B and C, perpendicular to line A. Apply tiles to the squared-off area first, then cut and apply fractional tiles. After our tiles are laid and the adhesive has dried, we can apply our grout. Follow manufacturer's mixing instructions closely. Work rubber surfaced trowel in an arc, holding it at an angle so that grout is forced into the spaces between the tiles. Wipe excess grout from tiles with a damp rag. After grout is thoroughly dry, rinse the area and wipe with a clean towel. You will need to keep your tile clean and not allow the grout to dry on your tiles as it may stain. Next, let's talk about masonry veneer finishes and application steps. There are two finishes we will cover. The first is brick finishes. Bricks are referred to as face bricks because they have a desirable appearance. Common colors are shades of brown, red, gray, yellow, and white. Natural stone is the other finish, and it is available in various shapes, sizes, and colors. Now let's quickly cover the application steps. Veneer is primarily used on exterior walls, but may be used on interior surfaces. It may be applied to concrete masonry units, CMUs, or wood framing. Application procedures follow the same general methods for tiling, except that flashing and drip edges may be required. Bricklaying procedures are detailed in one of our other videos in the concrete masonry section. We are finally at the last section. Tile laying material estimating process. Starting with the tiles. Determine tile type and size that you want to use. Then field tiles and border tiles. Your border tiles can be of a different shape or color. And then special tiles, these could be a special bullnose around the edges. Next, determine the area to be tiled. Then divide the area to be tiled by tile size area. I know what you're thinking, math again? I'm going to ask Petty Officer Google to explain it to you.
Hello again, and thank you for asking. To figure out how many tiles are needed for a specific area, multiply the tile length by the width to figure the area that one tile will cover in square inches. Divide the result by 144 to convert it to square feet. Then, divide the area you're tiling by the square footage of one tile to determine how many tiles you need.
Thank you, Petty Officer Google, I've got it now. So let's figure out a bathroom wall that is 8 foot by 6 foot. And we will be tiling with 4-inch tiles. So we need to find out what the area of the tile is in square feet. So we will multiply our tile sides. 4 times 4 equals 16. We then divide by 144. We do so because 1 square foot is 144 inches. Once we divide 16 by 144, our equation should end with 0.11111111. Then we need to figure our square foot of area to be tiled. In this scenario is 8 by 6. 8 times 6 is 48. 48 square feet of area. We then divide 48 by 0.11111111. And our total tiles needed is 432. Now we go on to mortar adhesive. Determine the type of mortar or adhesive you will be using. For cement mortar, plaster. The scratch coat based on a 3/4 inch base. 15 cubic feet covers approximately 100 square yards. For the float coat, 20 cubic feet covers approximately 100 square yards. Dry set mortar, you must follow the manufacturer's recommendations. Epoxy mortar, you must follow manufacturer's recommendations. Organic adhesives, 10 gallons, covers 1,000 square feet. Then divide area to be tiled by container coverage. And finally, grout. A 20-pound bag of grout covers approximately 100 square feet. Then divide the area to be tiled by grout coverage area. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe and hit the like button. We don't want you to miss any videos. Builder Nation is builder strong. Have a great builder day.